Welcome back into 13 News. The victim in this week's cold case was just 11 years old. More than 30 years later, the search for his killer continues. 13's Melissa Bruner sat down with his sister.
Nelson Jones was a feisty, fearless 11-year-old growing up with two younger sisters in a small town in Dickinson County. No one could have imagined how their carefree childhood would be shattered. His sister shared very vivid, very difficult memories. Growing up in the small town of Hope, Kansas, Nelson Jones was every bit the typical boy.
He liked the outdoors, he loved to fish, baseball.
Melissa Bowl was the middle child. She recalls a big brother who was competitive.
See who could go the lowest, who could jump the farthest, who could run the fastest.
And fearless.
We would climb on top of the watershed, and he had tied a water hose to a tree, and we would climb on top of the shed and swing down from there like Tarzan. I mean, he always had crazy, wild ideas.
He was brave.
He was.
Brave enough that on October 27, 1990, Nelson insisted he could stay home alone while the rest of the family took a day trip to Wichita.
He had begged my mom to stay home. So he was 11, and he'd never stayed home by himself before, and he was supposed to hang out with somebody around the neighborhood, I think.
I think they got home around 6 p.m. Saturday evening. Nelson wasn't at home. There was a school carnival just a few blocks away at the school, so the family assumed that he had left and gone to the carnival.
We went up there and could not find him. Nobody had seen him, so we went back home.
While Melissa's mom got on the phone to call neighbors, her younger sister went into Nelson's room.
And she came out and she said, "Mom, I found Nelson and he looks all beat up." So we all went into the bedroom, and he was kneeling like you would to pray on the bed, and his upper half was laying on the bed. And I just remember he looked very pale and blue. Mom walked around the side and she grabbed his arm and to feel for a pulse, and I just remember her saying, "Oh God, Dennis, he's dead." And my stepdad ran up barefoot to get the police officers.
Nelson had been strangled. Current Dickinson County Sheriff Jerry Davis was a year into his job as a road patrol deputy and assigned to guard the scene. Years later, he'd look further into the case as a criminal investigator.
There were several witnesses that saw him playing with people and biking around town. They were all interviewed. It was kind of a community where everybody got along, everybody knew each other, and everybody trusted each other. So this was very shocking for the community at that time.
Shocking and devastating for a little girl.
And I was terrified. I was scared of the dark. I was scared to turn 11. I was afraid I would get killed too. To be in your own home and not feel safe in your own home was pretty traumatizing.
How hard is it to not know who did it?
I go in waves. Sometimes I'm really angry because I think about how it changed our family and the dynamics and all the pain that it brought.
The house is gone now. Melissa's mom passed away, but among the photos and a poem her mom wrote about a child at Heaven's Gate with big blue eyes, Melissa still finds hope. Nelson was chosen as the 3 of Hearts in the Kansas Cold Case deck. It's a new effort to get tips in unsolved cases by featuring them on playing cards. Melissa says she's grateful Nelson is not forgotten.
I often wonder what life would have been like with him here. What kind of brother would he be? What kind of uncle would he be to my children, you know?
Nelson was an innocent victim, and he deserves to have his story told. His family deserves to know what happened. Right now, Nelson would know what happened, and the person who killed Nelson would know what happened, and right now those are the only 2 leads we may have. And Nelson's gone. He can't speak for himself, so hopefully the evidence will speak for him.
I think I'd want to know why. Why did they do that? And maybe tell them what it did to our family, like the consequences of those actions, that choice that that person made. I'd like to know that they have a conscience, and I hope someday that they'll confess and seek forgiveness.
If you know anything about who killed Nelson or any unsolved case, call the Kansas Bureau of Investigation at 1-800-KS-CRIME. Melissa Bruner, 13 News.
Thank you for that, Melissa. You can see all of our cold case features under signature stories on WIBW.com. We will be right